Akira Kurosawa has become well known and loved for his samurai epics. Movies like Seven Samurai, Ran and Kagemusha are some of the greatest movies ever made. But let's not forget that some of Kurosawa's best films are some of his simplest films. Sanjuro being one of his best. Films these days feel the need to squeeze as many plot points, characters and twists into their movies as possible, so that the viewer feels like they're getting their money's worth. Sanjuro is the perfect example of how a simplistic movie can be even more complex, intense and fulfilling. The story of Sanjuro is fairly simple. We follow a group of young samurai as they try to rescue their uncle from the corrupt superintendent. They luckily stumble across the help of a witty ronin who helps them in their mission to retrieve their uncle. Now, two of the main reasons this movie works so well is Kurosawa's genius ability to tell stories and Toshiro Mifune's masterful screen presence. This movie is very simple, and any other director would have kept it that way, but Kurosawa uses very subtle tricks and twists to make this a very interesting watch. The dynamic cast of characters is a big part in helping this. Toshiro Mifune leads them through a number of different changes. They switch and swap from trusting to skeptical over and over again as Mifune guides them to their uncle. It's a given that Toshiro Mifune would play a completely unique and impressive role. Whether it's a kooky bandit, a cool samurai or a cunning businessman, he can play them all as if he were born for each specific role. But his role in Sanjuro stands out especially. He manages to completely overshadow everybody in the room, and then be completely discreet within seconds. This also creates some great comedic moments as they contemplate their next plan. And of course we can't talk about a Kurosawa movie without talking about his fantastic camera work. Again, his cuts and camera movements tie everything together beautifully, and it really was a beautiful location to shoot the movie at. A lot of the movie was set in a gorgeous Japanese house with a stream running through it. The stream became a way to both link camera cuts and link the story. The movie just felt so fused together. I never felt disconnected, even when the movie cut to a different character. We also can't forget the slick action scenes. Although this movie is mainly about the planning of the plans and sneaking around, the action scenes are just as brilliant. Watching Mifune effortlessly slay multiple enemies in quick but brilliant action scenes was absolutely fantastic. In other movies, the deaths of a few henchmen would be nothing more than a time killer, but in Sanjuro it becomes some of the most intense moments in the movie. I think this movie suffers in that people fail to see just how complex and intense it is because they don't have constant action and shouting. This movie is like Mifune's character. It's witty, unpredictable, but a joy to watch. Everything in this movie, from the subtle gestures of the characters to the gorgeous set design, fits perfectly together. It's a fantastic example of how to make the simplest stories just as complex as anything else. Yet another showcase of Kurosawa's endless talent.